Hey everyone, Courtney here with Bionic Blaze, clothing company, two-time cancer survivor, and disabled person, amputee. I say disabled person because I wanted to talk a bit about that. A lot of times I start thinking about stuff on my car rides, so I thought maybe I'd try this for a little bit. You can let me know if you like it or not. I was just thinking about being disabled and kind of what that means as a human being and kind of the things that we encounter on a day-to-day basis. Everyone's journey is super different and everyone's path to becoming disabled is super different, but we all are a part of a similar minority community. Over the years, I've definitely met a lot of amputees and other disabled people through different groups. So I've definitely experienced some of, heard from some of their experiences and experienced my own things and issues and trials and tribulations and pity, and I feel sorry for you looks, and it's definitely a challenging thing. I think that a lot of people don't really think about the fact that they could become, like, anyone can become a disabled person at any given time, which I think is scary for some people, but it is definitely, it's something that could very possibly happen to every single one of us at any given time, and I think it also makes people question their mortality. I feel like people who have disabilities and people who have gone through life-threatening issues have a different view on life and have a different attitude about things, almost more laid back in a way, because we know, like, I've been through worse, like, this isn't that big a deal. So I think that that's something that's kind of interesting about it. There are some instances that I distinctly remember when I first became an amputee that were really challenging and traumatizing in the moment. They're not obviously traumatizing to me anymore, but I kind of just laugh about it. But there have been instances where I've had to deal with a situation that was super uncomfortable, and the person that was interacting with me is the one that made it uncomfortable by saying or doing whatever they did. Specifically, when I first had my very first bone replacement surgery, I went back to school for college for my last 3 or 4 weeks of the semester before I took time off, and I went up to a classroom and I used the elevator. I had crutches. I was told to keep as much weight off as possible because I could break my bone at any given moment. So I think it was actually, I take it back, it was before my surgery, but I was told to stay on crutches and make sure I take it easy because I could break my bone at any moment because the tumor had really deteriorated my bone. And I got on the elevator, and there's this older woman. She was probably 40 or 50 at the time, and she just asked me straight up, like, what did you do? Something stupid, like break your leg skiing or something like that? And I'm just like, fun, like, you're in crutches, like, obviously something bad happened to you and you're sounding like an a-hole right now. And I'm laughing about it now, but in the moment I was just like upset and furious and didn't know what to say, and so I just said no, and I had like the grumpiest look on my face, I'm sure, but it's like, oh my gosh, like, get a clue. There have been other instances where children have screamed, like, Mom, she's missing a leg, and those instances I really look at how the parent reacts to it, and the most negative thing you can do as a parent is to hush them or not explain what's going on. So I think that that's something that is really challenging. There was one girl specifically that was she was 6, so it's whatever, but she was laughing at me, I think because she didn't understand what she was seeing, and her mom kind of just looked at me like, kids will be kids, and I'm just like, so it's more of just a flabbergasted expression that you kind of get in those instances, what the heck. But there can be plenty of really funny, enjoyable interactions that you can like, I'm always on guard because there has been those negative instances, but there was this group of brothers, little boys, they were age range from like 6 to 11 or something like that, and we were at the grocery store. I think I was in the electric cart, and they saw, I always either wear my pant leg rolled up, or I have, I'll wear shorts or skirt or whatever, and there's two boys that saw me, and the other boy just kept running off, and the two boys stopped, and they were like staring at me, and like in amazement, because they're little boys, and they're just like, oh my god, I could be a robot. And then the youngest turned around and realized that he had missed this spectacle, and he like felt weird about coming back, and so like, you can come over here, and I started showing them the leg, and they're like, that's so cool, and then they ran over to their mom, and they're like, Mom, I want a robot leg. And so it was just like super funny, and the mom was like obviously embarrassed because she's like, no, you don't want a robot leg, but it was really a funny instance. So there are definitely plus and minuses to experiencing being disabled. For anyone watching this, please don't just go up to someone and say what happened to you, ever. Like, treat them like a normal person. You know, you don't ask about the most traumatizing experience of their entire life, without even introducing yourself or saying hello. There have been so many instances where someone just walks up and says that, and I'm just like, these are grown adults. It's not even like teenagers or anything like that. These are grown ass people that are asking me this question. So I just think it's super weird and slightly funny, and I kind of just look at them like, hello, my name is blah blah blah, like, what's yours, before I, like, I'm not gonna sit there and spill my whole entire story on that stuff like that. So it's a little funny. So please don't do that to anyone. I think the most respectful way you can go about it, if your curiosity is just killing you, is to walk up to the person, introduce yourself, you know, have some chit chat, and then ask, may I ask about your blah blah blah? May I ask why you're in a wheelchair? May I ask, you know, sometimes that might not necessarily be taken in the right manner, so you do have to read the room when you're talking to someone, if they're willing, if they seem like they're willing to talk to you. But I feel like that's the best way to say, like, or if your kid's curious, like, can my kid come and ask you about your leg? That's the best way to do it with kids, because then it gives the kids opportunity to have courage to come up and ask people questions like that, but it also gives them a learning experience of, like, this is how you ask a disabled person XYZ. So yeah, I just wanted to give a little snippet of the view of my life, and kind of just a little drive time think that I'm having. But I'm almost home, so I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for listening.